sorry.
How are you doing, sir?
Shannon, I'm doing well, I must say. I basically, I want to say almost completely dodged jet lag, which is something you struggle with a lot, but...
No, I struggle going back home. That's different.
That makes even less sense.
Okay.
That's fine. And what can I say? So far, I've been having a great time, and I'm ready to see some great Dota. So obviously, these two teams are a little bit different than you might be used to seeing if you've been following them in the last year, because obviously now you've got Chrysalis running for Tundra here, as well as now Quinn standing in on the side of Falcons for Malrine. So should be interesting to see the dynamics. The panel were talking about this in particular with Quinn, with how he's going to slot in instead of Malrine with the hero pool issues. But for this game, you and I have been casting a couple of Malrine Storm games. So this individual game should not be much different for Falcons in terms of slotting in the picks.
Because we're going to see a little bit of action here for the bounty runes.
4 for
able to
Tundra.
snag it. Yeah, 4. That's a lot. A lot of gold in the pocket of Tundra to start this game. Static Link doing a decent amount to Amar, but no kill will come from it. And Chrysalis, we have yet to cast him on this team, of course. I believe we were the final ones to cast Doraccio, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
The great Doraccio. He's going to get... Oh, actually going to get this kill? He pops the Fairy Fire, but he will drop first blood to crit. A nice knife coming in the last moment with the blood grenade on top.
Yeah. There was a lot of damage over time going on there. And you were pointing this out when we were looking at the picks here, obviously before we were on air, but Snaking went for Twin Terror.
Yes.
As his facet, not opting for the upgraded Ice Path, but rather the stronger double attack. I wonder if this is flat out just an approach to try to make the laning a little bit stronger against Lycan, if that's the mindset here, or if there's some sort of maybe secondary benefit that you're barely pushed over the edge against refraction charges or something. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've cast a lot of Jakiro in the last tournament we covered, and I don't think we saw this a single time.
No, because
picked by anyone.
We had a conversation about it. How much would they have to buff this fast for somebody to go for it?
And it was unchanged, right? It's still the same. So
I believe so, yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Now, just had our eyes on bot lane a moment ago. This was the panel were talking about this this Razor against Underlord matchup being very one-sided for Chrysalis. Obviously, he did get first blooded, but not by the core of the lane, but rather by the support. And we'll see how Ringmaster can convert this into lane pressure. I would say this is one of the strongest heroes in the first 5 minutes. Ringmaster's laning can be terrifying, especially if he has first blood. We've seen some games from, I want to say mainly Whitemon, popping off, getting many kills in the early game. See if Crit can...
Unfortunately, he did go for Carney Classic. A little bit misclick action there after the other facet was buffed tremendously in the last patch.
Goes to show that it must have been really bad beforehand since you're still not picking it.
Yes, Crit just hasn't had time to practice using the other skills, especially the unicycle. Very difficult to coordinate yourself for that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't have access to Dota2 Pro Tracker, which would have shown that the win rate of...
Well, what's the win rate for less than 8.5k? That's what I want to know. Because that's what everyone's going to base things off. Surely we know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amar going to get static linked here by Chrysalis. And I agree with the panel that if you're going to replace Doraccio, Chrysalis, in terms of the free agents, it's a no-brainer, it feels like.
I think he was the best pick for the style of play that you want. And also, you know, Chrysalis was a player that was, I would say the community, I can't speak for the pros, it's hard to know, right? But the community at large was skeptical about him, and then he gets like a second place at TI, and people are still like, yeah, well, was he really that good?
Then he started streaming.
And then he started streaming and pretended that Puppy was in his room with a machete, and that's when he popped off.
Yeah.
Then the community was like, all right, this guy knows how to play because he survived a gank from Puppy. In all seriousness, though, he's just recently won a LAN, right? And kind of proven that he's got what it takes. I mean, in case there was any doubt, I personally did not have any doubts after his great run at TI, but for whatever reason, he's really had to win over more people than I feel like he should have had to.
Yeah, streaming does help.
It really does.
You should try it sometime.
Yep.
People might have a different opinion of you.
That's right.
See that rage in action.
Yeah.
We are seeing Skeeter on the Nature's Prophet, and this is the hero that felt like the last time we were casting was extremely meta, and nothing has changed in that aspect.
I am
You seem to be very sick and tired of this hero.
I can't
don't
believe
mind
how
it.
many times we've seen it today already.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this hero should be banned every game. To me, this is probably, if you put me on the spot, I would say this for me is the strongest hero in the entire game right now. If I had to pick one, specifically because it's flex, it's universal, it does well in almost every lane matchup. It scales well, it has global presence, and come super late game, even if you don't have a great game, you can also cheese out a win, which we've seen this team in particular, Falcons, actually pull off a couple of times where maybe the mid-game portion didn't go according to plan. They weather the storm, Skitter gets 25, and then step by step you start whittling away at the base with the 3x Ironwood Treant talent. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, because there's a lot of other heroes that I would definitely personally rate lower that have been given more ban priority today.
Yeah.
But early days, see the tournament develop further.
So when we were reading the patch notes initially, I think you had the same idea as me. When all the patch note changes to controlled creeps with Helm of Dom, who's the first person you thought of that would be really happy with those changes?
Lycan.
Yeah. No, what player?
Oh.
Because for me, it was 33 instantly.
Whoever plays Lycan.
Okay.
Yeah, 33.
There you go.
There you go. Good.
And Beastmaster.
Yeah.
He plays several.
There's no player named Beastmaster.
Okay. So we'll see if that comes into play in terms of the build for the Lycan in this game.
Oh, he is getting Dom. Can't say it's because of the patch, though. I think we would have bought it anyway. But for the sake of the argument, let's say that was a genius comment from you. And
thank you.
He's going for Helm of the Dominator because of the buffs.
That's right. And Skeeter right now leading the CS charts 28 and 12 on the board. You can see Crystallis on the other side 31 and 10. So essentially a wash for the position ones. Question is, how much are the off lanes getting? We saw 33 having to go to the jungle a bit, 22 and 0 right now. That's not really going to show the full state of affairs because he has been in said jungle. But Amar on the Underlord. We can talk about this hero a bit. Sitting on 30 and 5, so doing quite a nice job at the moment.
Yeah, he got off to a little bit of a better start maybe than expected because of the kill they got on Crystallis early for the Ringmaster to be a stronger laner in the first few minutes. And then he will passively get some farm here and there with the Firestorm and some Attribute Aura and then go back to the jungle.
And that is a lot of burst. That's 2 procs onto the Pit of Malice as well. Enough for the kill.
Did you see how much damage Jakiro did with that Twin Terror facet there?
A lot, boy.
Probably less than if he had the other one, actually.
Boy, if only he had an MKB or a Mjolnir or something.
Yeah, maybe. You know, Snakey really likes his farm. Maybe we'll see him go in a definitely not in that direction.
No.
But it would be cool. But yeah, I guess this is one of the differences in this type of game between Lycan and Underlord is that Underlord to an extent can farm both. So he can go and push out the wave, and then as the wave is, the next wave is connecting, he can go to the jungle and do a hard camp while Crit leeches experience on the support.
Yeah.
So they've got a nice little symbiotic relationship down here. Okay, TP canceled from Whitemon. Not sure what he was... If there was a play call from Tundra to go there with Soxa, but he was not in range at all. Now, the good news for Tundra is that I don't even think Falcons saw that TP, so they can't act on it and try to put pressure knowing that Phoenix can no longer connect. So likely won't do too much as the Wisdoms will be traded off. And kudos to Falcons. They lost 4 bounties, but they're still now equalizing on the gold.
Seems they always find a way as Crystallis going to get caught again. And that is going to be the death. That is 3 deaths already.
Can you believe this guy got second in TI?
I was going to say, you jinxed the ever-living shit out of him as Soxa under the tier 1. Surrounded by 4 members of Falcons. Gets the toss back, but he actually dodges the Pit of Malice as well.
Nice pathing here.
Yeah, finds his way to the south near the Tormentor, who is yet to spawn, of course, into the tree line. Is he actually going to get away here?
The Jukes.
Yeah, they're not going to bother even chasing. He's not working.
Oh, he might even get a backstab here.
Absolutely, Soxa coming in. Nice avalanche onto 2. BZM coming from the north as well. Ice Path will be the death of Soxa, but he sets this up beautifully. Both Snake King and Amar drop to the deck. Double kill for BZM, and he's able to TP out.
Why are his teammates not tipping him? That was a mega play from Soxa, dodging the 4-man gank.
Especially in America,
placing a ward.
Tipping is mandatory here.
Yep, every time you get a kill, 20% goes to the Ancient.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't really say Soxa did not play that completely perfectly. He got off the ward as well to give him the information that he could make the backstab play, and they get those 2 kills onto BZM, so now he will be leading the net worth chart by a decent margin. Especially now against the counterpart in Quinn. He's 1,000 up against the Storm. Panel was talking about this. Interesting they chose to pick the Storm knowing that BZM and the other team was likely playing the TA in the mid lane. This is one of Storm's notoriously harder matchups. So definitely leaves a little bit to be desired for the early game for the side of Falcons. But as we've already covered, they did a good job in the side lanes to kind of equalize it regardless.
Yep, for sure. 33 now. Using this timing to push the tier 1 tower. See if there's any defense for Falcons here. And now that Helmet Dom is up and running. Snaking will make an appearance. Quinn as well, but the tower's already gone, my friend. So Falcons will have to concede that. I will say Sprout, very good against Lycan. Once you get 6 slotted Synderen.
Yeah.
Because no Quelling Blade anymore. You have to go Battle Fury for that.
That's right. I think that's a great point to make, minute 9:30.
I mean, to be fair, the games that we cast tend to go pretty late, so.
Yeah.
Or there tend to be hour-long pauses. Either way, I'm happy. Soxa initiated on. Skeeter gets off his Wrath of Nature as well. And Soxa inside the Sprout will fall. Snaking racking up the kills here. Doesn't want to give it to any core heroes, of course. Very greedy boy. And he went for that Facet, of course.
Yep. And that's a kill involvement for Quinn, so he gets one more stack on Galvanize.
BZM.
Great song by the Chemical Brothers, of course, if you're unfamiliar.
I'm very unfamiliar.
Yep, that's right, because you don't listen to good music.
Quinn, he'll be able to bottle the shield rune here. What a nice... I feel like when you typically are going to a lane and somebody's not able to make it and you have to have a last-minute replacement, like people like Quinn aren't generally available. That seems like quite a nice player to fill in for you. Last minute, especially being NA, no jet lag, of course.
Well,
he did come from Europe, I guess, but, you know.
Did he?
Probably. Historically, all Americans came from Europe.
You got a point. Everybody's jet lagged. Everybody.
At some point in someone's life, they will be jet lagged, as we have a smoke now from Falcons. And, well, Soxa might be in a bit of trouble, but I feel like he'd be happy with this exchange. If it even comes to that. Smoke does pop. Crit. Send out the knife. They see Soxa. It gets feared into the tier 1 tower, but he is not worth the pursuit.
He's tough to dive when Storm isn't part of the play. Quinn will now, actually not even sending himself a TP scroll. So he's showing flat out in the mid lane without TP. I don't know if Tundra can really act on it, though. Their lineup seems... as they talked about in the panel, kind of inactive for a while. The only playmaking hero they have is a 4 Tiny, and, well, he's showing in bot lane, so what moves can really be pulled off? They're happy to just farm up and probably try to cover that weakness of their lineup through sheer itemization. So the TA is going to go for a Blink Dagger. That will help with the gap closing. You might see a potential catch item for Phoenix going Hex or Atos would be nice. And... yeah, until then, they're happy to farm. Can't say I haven't seen this type of game from Tundra before, and the results are quite mixed. Sometimes they get there, and they get their stuff, and they play that late game. Other games, they kind of just do nothing and then lose. So we'll see what type of game this one's going to be. But I want to say so far, so good. I think this is a pretty stable overall game state for their lineup.
And what about for the other side?
Well, Falcons' lineup can win this game at, I think, every portion of it.
Is anybody unhappy right now? Really? What the question comes down to.
Not really. I guess the hero of the entire game that's probably having the worst individual one is the Storm, but he just farmed a double stack of Ancient, so he's kind of back up there now. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just a weird one, right? It's quite unusual to see both teams being this happy with farming, and it's not that, oh, there's only 7 kills minute 13, what are they doing, why don't they fight all the time? It's also the way in which they apply pressure a lot of the times seems to be... you're not really pressuring the enemy heroes very much. You're just pushing out waves a lot and making them defend, but you're not doing hero damage, so to speak. As I say that, they will find crit, though.
He gets inside of his box, but that sets up the Avatos and eventual right clicks from 33. Actually staying alive quite a bit longer than expected. Gets off the whip, but eventually will be found in the tree line.
If only had a bike there.
True. Unicycle, man, that thing sounds really broken, actually. The first 2 seconds of damage don't matter.
I think I asked you this question before, but it was not on broadcast, and I don't remember what your answer was, but it was probably terrible. So a bicycle has 2 wheels, and a tricycle has 3.
Yeah.
So what would you call a unicycle? If you call it a bike and a trike, what do you call the one with 1 wheel?
I feel like I can't say that on air. So I just won't do it.
All right.
Thanks for the question, Cinder.
Wasn't meant to be bait.
Quinn Avatossed up and dead. BZM finds the damage. Amar Company still want to fight, apparently. BZM taking the brunt of the damage, gets off the ice path, but he gets another kill to his name. The Wheel of Wonder going to be completely avoided. Just look away in shame, and you're fine. 2 dead for Falcons as they are getting run down now. Chrysalis with the static link. Crit is dead. That's number 3. Toss back Amar. Big and juicy, no longer. Pinata for you. Whatever the hell that means. Triple kill for BZM. 4 dead for Falcons, and they get nothing in return.
Yeah, kind of surprising to see Falcons almost double down on that, right? They just lost their Storm. You can cut your losses, but they really wanted to. Maybe they're trying to impress Quinn. They're like, just like the good old show, TV show Friends that I know you used to enjoy. It. They wanted to show that they'll be here for him. You know,
right? Well, they really wanted that Arcane Rune. They got it, but it cost them dearly. Unfortunately, Wheel of Wonder ends up whiffing. I don't think that's even enough for a kill. Level 1 wheel. Nah. Probably not. Yeah, the old domino effect. I mean, again, it's not like they played with Quinn a whole lot, right? I feel like this is a standard pub mentality syndrome, the dominoes, right? Save your friend syndrome. As Soxa will be rewarded with a shard. Not the most useful for support, Tiny, but he'll take it. So
what you're saying is usually they feel like Malrina is more expendable.
Yes.
Like, you know what?
Yes.
Whatever. But Quinn.
That's right.
Good Tormentor timing.
Uh-oh. Avalanche finds him. Toss not going to be there, but the damage still comes through. Sunray from the other side. Down goes Amar. And 33 with another kill to his name. He's got the helm of the Overlord now. And that was against a Crimson Guard for Amar as well, so you can just see how much physical damage output the side of Tundra have. As Quinn, they're going to try to get a collateral kill here onto the mid-Razor Chrysalis. He will fall. How much will it cost them? Nothing. So a great pickoff for Falcons, finally showing a little bit of life here, despite being down 5K at the moment.
Yeah, so considering, I was about to say the gold graph, this is extremely steep. Like, the game has been more or less even for 13 minutes, and then that spike just happened. They got 4 kills and then the Tormentor. So this was the makings of the good version of these quiet games from Tundra, where they farm up their items, they find 1 or 2 moments of opportunity, they get an objective, and then they just keep snowballing out of control. But that kill on Razor will slow things down a little bit. Still, you can see the recipe here is just more and more pressure.
Finds another potential pickoff here, the Avatoss. And the creeps are doing most of the damage here. Amar pops the Crimson, so he's going to live. As the rest of Falcons here to try to defend. Well, they do save their comrade, but you can see BZM with the Death, so they have a lot of minus armor now, coupled with 33's Howl. This tower is donezo. But Soxa, it feels like he's been being involved in so many kills so far this game. Has set up a ton for the side of Tundra.
6 out of 8. He opted for Phase Boots plus Windlace. This is not very uncommon for Tiny, but there are definitely games where you keep the brown boots and get a faster blink, or perhaps sometimes we even see Tranks. I think that's the rarer one. But obviously, if you do go Phase, you really want some sort of payoff. Oh,
big
enough. Well,
on to Soxa. Remember, this is a support hero. How long will it take? Ice Path connects. Chrysalis comes here, though. The Avalanche toss onto Quinn. He's very low on mana. They get the kill they came for, but it might cost Quinn his life. Indeed, it does, along with Snake King. But Chrysalis on the other side gets taken out by Amar. So 2 for 2 as the fight continues. Amar with the attempted TP will be fine. No more stuns to come around for the side of Tundra as Crit gets crit by BZM. So 3 for 2. Favor Tundra still. Took a long time to kill Soxa.
Ironically, the armor of Phase Boots actually made a really big difference there. Obviously, Tiny's base armor being 0 is pretty bad, but the 1 point in Grow plus the Phase Boots for the 9 armor meant that kill probably took them a couple of extra seconds and the entirety of Storm's mana pool, so he couldn't get out after. And they managed to get a good turnaround there once more, and BZM, the big winner. He's now 7-0. He got 2 stacks on his Desolator from that. You're going to immediately try to convert this into the big man. Minus 14 armor on Roche right now, not bad. Together with 33, this should be no problemo. Now 33 is eyeing up an Echo Saber here. The panel was talking about potential Aghanims being the item of choice this game. You're playing with TA, you're playing with Razor. Perhaps there could be some interesting dynamics with that. But at the same time, is that good with how this works now versus...
Versus what?
I'm just trying to remember if something was changed with this at some point where when you convert a ranged hero, the way it interacts.
Oh, I see.
I think it's still... Anyway, I would rather see him go this route regardless. I think this is a very good game to become a true third carry rather than empowering.
Yeah, it feels like if you're off to a great start, why bother?
Yeah,
like you could do that third, fourth item somewhere down the line.
So Harpoon will be it. He will complete the full item soon. At least it's this quick buy. Then
Crit is found by Soxa, tossed back into everyone, but the Wheel of Wonder is used to try to get away. Crit, he's going to put himself inside the box. Will live as a result. Soxa, wrong place, wrong time. So good rotation here from Falcons. And Amar saw him get the 33 ult used. Do they want to use this to their advantages? Quinn very low on mana, and they obviously know this. And the Age is still online for the likes of BZM. So perhaps a pressure of the tier 2 tower to come. Or they could also just chill.
Yeah, for the side of Tundra, I think it would actually be really nice for them to just calm down for a minute and a half or whatever, just get Soxa his dagger. It's going to make things a lot easier when he and BZM together can just pick a target and kill it. I think almost everybody on Falcon's side dies in an Avatos combo with the exception of Underlord. So if Soxa reaches a point where he can just flat out stop showing on the map at all and just play behind BZM, that makes for a very difficult strategic game for Falcons to play because they have to push out these waves quite a lot. Lycan's going to be pushing the waves. It's going to be Plasma Fields, TA with traps. It's going to keep things as much as possible on the dire half of the map. Nice path. Nice connection from Snay there.
Yep, and the knife will slow him from Crit. Even Macro Pyre use. Soxa seems to be the choice of kill every time for Falcons.
He was 100 short. He just wanted that one extra creep.
Greedy
get
boy.
The dagger, but well, he'll get it eventually. It's a nice slowdown kill though, but as you mentioned, he's kind of the only hero they're really killing, and that means on the side of Tundra, the gold just keeps going up and up. And as much as I've talked about Prophet being an incredible hero, this is probably the plan B type of game. Usually in good Prophet games, you're kind of crushing it in the first 20 minutes. You're winning your lane, you're snowballing plays around the map. Now that that hasn't happened, are you already playing for level 25? Is that where we're at?
True.
It is kind of tough to see Skitter with confidence just enter a fight against these heroes. They're very, very strong right now.
And this is going against, I mean, Tundra, I just realized they only have 1 stun.
Yeah.
That's why Soxa has been involved in everything. They've been able to TP out as long as Soxa is not there. As Quinn, nice double ice path onto 2. Down goes Soxa again. Again, BZM able to get out of dodge, still has the Aegis, so Falcons will play it safe here.
Now Soxa is further away from Blink than he was a minute ago, because he was 100 gold away, and then he just walked in and died again. So now he's 300 gold away.
Go to jungle, my friend.
Yeah, that one was a little weird for me. When you're that close to such an instrumental item, usually you just go and take like a singular camp, but they had an idea of making a move there with him and the TA. Obviously, I understand you want to try to put your Aegis to good use. But unfortunately, as it stands now for Tundra, they're kind of getting nothing out of it. It's just a minute left on it. Oh, the smoke will be scouted out by the Wolves. They could set a really good trap here on Tundra if they want to. Knowing that they have their Aegis. No TP on BZM, though, so can't really connect very easily to the bot lane. And, you know, plan B, if you can't make a trap, at least don't get caught. So they're all going to disengage here, and the smoke will not bear fruit.
Man, it would have been so funny if Soxa had died there.
It just walked into them, didn't realize they were smoked. Especially considering he was the one pinging the smoke. Just like short-term memory.
All right, he is 10 gold away, ladies and gentlemen. You can do it, Soxa. Will he die in the next 2 seconds?
No.
He will purchase
he quick
it.
bought that real fast.
Yeah, he's got quick fingers.
No risks there. And then immediately he's going to walk into a ward. But he has allies backing him up. And the only thing that the side of Falcons really got out of the smoke was a nice aggressive ward behind the bottom tier 2 tower. So now if they were to take a fight here or want to make an invasive play, then they will have the information behind as to whether a defense is being mounted, or perhaps you could catch someone and turn that into the tower pickoff. But didn't happen. Now Quinn.
Oh, that is going to be a big kill for BZM and company. And that's 45 seconds of no Storm Spirit.
TA traps are just such a mess to deal with a Storm. Makes you wonder if the build Quinn is going is actually the right one for this game. So he's got the Witchblade into Kaya Sanj, so he doesn't have any way of removing the silence. We've actually even seen, oh, hang on. Toss again, Soxa, the killer instinct.
Is everywhere. Skeeter able to attempt the TP out. Will be fine now that the Avatos is on cooldown.
Meantime, they're trying to get onto BZM.
Yeah, he has a lot of damage. Snake is just going to brush it off. Pit of Malice placed. Now the Sprout. BZM attempting to TP, but there's the whip from the north. Crit able to find the kill. Soxa, or I should say Snake King, able to be traded, and they're able to get the egg as well, so Crit gets credit for that one. A 2-for-1 in favor of Falcons. 33 will have to run away.
You know what made a huge difference there, Shannon?
What's that?
Gossamer Cape. The best neutral item in all of Dota against TA.
And Soxa will show off that new Blink Dagger to his grave.
Great. Well, he doesn't need to farm it, so.
True. His death matter no longer.
I mean, BZM would have insta-killed the Jakiro there, if not for the Gossamer Cape. So that extended the situation by quite a bit, and Snay, as a result, got to force out counterplays from the Phoenix as well. So that was a really big win for Falcons, and you can tell, obviously, I'm assuming only the 2 of them got offered the Gossamer Cape, but it's also on the Storm. So Storm and Jakiro have an extra line of defense against Meld, and just TA's overall burst damage in general.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's really strong. This is probably, is there a hero in Dota that is better to have this against than TA?
No, TA is
like
the first one I think, at least.
Like, those are probably the 2, right? The ones that have like singular, extremely potent attacks.
Yeah.
That you want to try to block.
All right, Falcons. They will be able to get the second Tormentor. And Snake King will get that one, so has the fire and the ice, but you can see the smoke from Tundra. They're going to be going against a bit of a weaker Falcons lineup as a result of that Tormy.
They don't have Supernova. If this were to break out,
and they'll avoid each other, it looks like.
Well, that was...
So Chrysalis with the BKB now.
Uneventful.
BKB Mjolnir.
Radiant's middle tower
33, I believe, is, just about to finish his BKB as well.
I think it's going to be very telling what his next quick buy item is. I would still kind of like AC. You're playing with Razor and TA, so the aura benefits are amazing, but the other item he's eyeing up here, also great. The Nullifier to try to deal with some of the defensive utility. Nature's Prophet Pike will be unusable. You're going to be able to remove Crimson Guard from a target.
You can remove the box.
Ghost Scepter, box, yeah. Honestly, they needed at least one of these, so it was a matter of, is he going to be the one buying the first one, or will someone else do it? And then I still think AC is a part of a build here. So maybe his next item after this.
So you're talking about 5th, 6th item again, where Aghanim Scepter will slot in nicely.
There's a little bit of a difference between talking about 6th slot at 27 minutes and at 9:30.
What tier 5 item do you think he should get this game?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that right now as well. 27 minutes in the game here at game number 1 of this best of 2. Not really a thing. It's a 2-game series, in fact, is the correct way to say that, Cinderin.
Well
Thanks for correcting me. Tundra versus Falcons.
Those are also the correct teams.
Tundra. Tundra with the 5K lead right now.
I think he should take Stygian Desolator.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Because minus armor is good when you have minus armor.
But then TA can't go for it. So that's the problem.
Get one each.
You know? It's not the best.
I guess, I mean, Spider Legs and Fallen Sky are also kind of cool on...
Yeah, I was actually joking when I said let's talk about tier 5.
I know you were, but I'm just going to do it anyway, just to annoy you.
I actually do like it.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't annoy you.
We got smokes on both sides. As Chrysalis... My southern accent seems to come out a lot now that we're in North Carolina, but the smoke will pop. Sox not able to get the connection he wanted. Gets the toss back from Amar. Sox is going to take the brunt of the damage here as the BKBs are not going to be popped. Skeeter gets Chrysalis inside of his Sprout, but Chrysalis able to find the space. Tiny is already dead here, and Skeeter and company attempting to fall back for the time being. Chrysalis's BKB is wearing off now. He's actually kind of alone. He's going to get sprouted and surrounded as Quinn comes in to finish the job. Double kill for him. A 2 for nothing. And Falcons, not sure if they can get much more as Quinn is a bit low on mana. Does have to be a bit careful. Gets off the Electric Vortex into the Ice Path with the dual breath to follow. Wheel of Wonder plays. He finally pops his BKB. Going to focus everything on the Quinn, but he still has enough mana to get to the other side. BZM, he finally pops his BKB. Is 33 already TPing out. Now BZM, Hurricane Pike to the high ground. Should be okay. So it's still only 2 kills, but both in the name of Falcons.
I mean, that fight definitely showcased the lack of lockdown, right?
It's not over yet, Cinderin. Quinn, gonna get Avid. And they will be able to kill off Soxa again. How many times has he died this game? I feel like I'm saying that he is 9 deaths in so far.
Death, taxes, and death to taxes. Close enough. Roche will go the way of Falcons.
I'd love to get a highlight of just that 1 second period with that cringe joke. As Roche being attempted.
Oh, they're going to try to defend. No Tiny, though.
They're going to get some vision thanks to the Wolves. Falcons respecting this, despite not having Soxa. They looked at the scoreboard and saw that he died 9 times, so they don't really care if he's alive or dead.
Makes no difference whether we have our 1 stun boys.
Yeah. The 1 stun does seem to make a big difference.
Yeah. Definitely. I think if you think back to that fight that just happened, the big team fight, you know, there's a Supernova being used as a zoning tool. They just force out 1 hero with it. The Prophet isn't able to stand his ground and fight, but you're not benefiting from that aside from just buying time, but for what, right? You're not the one chasing. You can't snowball the fight in any meaningful fashion. The enemy team just kites you out, and then as soon as your BKBs expire, they just run you down instead. It's just way easier for Falcons once the fights transpire in that fashion. Lymon.
Yeah, he's going to be found. Chrysalis is on the other side along with Soxa, but they will have to run away. Soxa, is this death number 10 for you, good sir? He is pretty tanky for somebody who's died this often. Chrysalis going to throw out a plasma field and then run away, just going to claim that he did help his friend, despite it leading to a double-digit death now for Soxa.
You know what they say.
Death
taxes. Come on now, finish it.
Roshan,
I
refuse. As Roshan will die in the southern hemisphere.
Oh.
And the Aegis will go to Quinn as Falcons, I think we can safely say now, have the lead.
Yeah, they've stabilized the game. It was looking good for Tundra, right? We were singing their praises. They were getting a big gold advantage. They were taking a couple of good fights, and then this later portion of the mid game haven't really been able to string much together, with the Tiny being jumped seemingly every second minute, just being killed off over and over and over again.
They've obviously identified he's the only stun.
Absolutely. They're just
kill him off and we're fine.
And this does mean that we can now more or less say with full certainty that we will reach level 25 Nature's Prophet. So that begs the question, what is Tundra's solution to that problem? Because are you going to start, who's going to buy Midas?
Was that changed at all in this last patch?
No. Why would you do that?
Just checking.
Still the same talent, 3x.
Yeah.
Well, the Treants themselves got a minor nerf, I believe, to their health in... But I think that was in B, not in C. I think in C it was his damage from his innate that got nerfed, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's the Spirit of the Forest. Still crazy, so... See how they deal with that. It's coming.
Indeed it is. Still 3 levels away, though. And Skeeter with the Crystalis, Mjolnir, Hurricane Pike, Manta, and now the Brooch.
Okay. That's one
now that we've seen this item for an extended period of time, do you have any different thoughts? Because last time you were a bit underwhelmed and a bit hesitant to say whether it was as good as the pro players thought.
I thought it was getting slightly overpurchased because I felt like players were buying it even when they were against low armor heroes. And that's when I feel like mathematically the Daedalus has to be better if the enemy heroes have low armor, right? Mm-hmm. But if they do have high armor, I could definitely see
it's good against refraction, right? Isn't that 2 instances?
That is actually a good question. I would think it isn't, but
I would think it is.
Maybe it is.
I would think. I don't see why it wouldn't be. So that's 2 instances theoretically. You got the double attack from Snake King, refraction.
But doesn't it show up as a critical strike when you have Brooch and you hit for a crit, right? It just shows up as a regular crit.
You could be right, but let's just assume I'm correct so that I look smart for once. 2 instances of damage, of course.
Yeah, nice. Quinn. trying to do 1 instance of damage here.
That's right.
Working on it.
It's enough to force out another refraction from BZM. Now that there's a 4-staff on to Sox, I feel like
I have no idea how he can afford this.
Yeah,
he's using cheats or something. Like, how does this guy have any gold?
Well, he did get the shard for free, and that does help you farm.
Yeah.
So we can do the math here. 1 + 1 = 10 deaths.
What?
Don't worry about it.
I think my joke was better, and it wasn't even good to begin with. So this one must be real bad.
This is my home turf, America. We can make bad jokes.
I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm not going.
I don't understand.
Who says I'm going anywhere?
That's a good point. You really don't like to, do you?
No.
Prefer to stay at home. All right, Amar with the D ward. They will now get full control of this area. And Falcons thinking about putting some serious pressure here potentially. Oh, Quinn with a long zip to bottom just to farm out this wave.
Wow, that wave got decimated.
Yeah, they just feel confident that there's no threat going their way whatsoever when they have this Aegis, so they're willing to just burn half the mana pool to kill off the bot wave and try to cut it. And Tundra, well, it's the right read, obviously, from Falcons. Tundra are very uninterested in fighting. Sox, as a matter of fact, is farming the enemy side of the map, so I think we can count down to his death if you want to.
Will he get to triple digits this game?
That would be...
What's
I wonder what's the record.
Well, yeah, I had the same thought. Probably.
Have we ever seen 30 deaths on a player in a game?
Probably. Probably like a tier 2.
30 is crazy.
We've definitely seen 20. I mean, you've had 20 in a game.
Yeah, I think once.
On Pudge. I remember vividly.
Yep, that was a great game.
Just such a bad performance.
Thank you.
Fatalist now.
I seem to remember when they did the compendium predictions, there was always a category for most deaths on a player, right?
Yeah.
And I think the highest category you could choose was 21 plus.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That sounds about right. It's close enough. Yeah.
And I think that was met before, at least. So
by you.
Must be up there.
You and Mel.
It was not by me, but as a matter of fact, Shannon.
Oh, okay.
Our games didn't go long enough to die 20 times.
Oh, that's a good point.
Radiant are scanning.
Are you surprised they didn't really use the Aegis? I mean, they do have 30 seconds on it, so maybe now's the time, but...
Another great dodge from Sox. Has really been dodging the ganks this game. keeping it low.
Yeah, he could have died. Any other player would have died 20 times by now. Sox is a beast.
No. That's not true.
They would have died 20 times
I will
half
say,
the farm.
So, as fun as it is to look at this, a lot of his deaths are actually good deaths, I want to say. It's like, a lot of the times people get caught up in the KDAs, but the fact of the matter is, in a game like this, somebody's gonna die. And a lot of the time he was getting key vision and getting his spells off and then dying, and that's the fate that melee supports face a lot of the time in these types of games. So
Are they about to get their
definitely
second?
played better, but
Are they about to get their second stunt and then Melt Strike talent? Do you go for that this game? Amar will get a shard.
the refraction one got buffed, right? I think it went from 3 to 4 this patch.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the Meld Bash still, though.
I guess they could have a stun with 33, right? What does this little guy do? The Ancient Croaker. Is that the Congregations of the Deviant?
It is indeed.
Okay, so they got some stuns.
Yeah.
Via maybe some unorthodox means. The Croaker looks like... Look at him lumbering about. What a beast.
It's a great word. I think I've never used lumber as a verb in my entire
You're
life.
welcome. Lumbering beast of burden.
What voice do you think a croaker has?
I mean, you don't want me to do that one.
All right.
That's for sure.
Can already imagine it now based on that comment.
I mean, the Croaker is a belcher, no doubt about it. That's how he talks. Even game, though. I mean, who would you give the advantage to now that there's no Aegis?
Well, have Falcons ever lost with a level 25 Prophet?
Has anyone ever lost?
Is it possible?
So he did not go for the Meld Bash, by the way, so it's more charges to Refraction.
I mean, it's fine. I don't think there was a wrong choice here. I think both of them have their merits. But I definitely like the angle of the Meld Bash a little bit more just to overcome that weakness of your lineup. Here we go.
A weakness no longer with the Croaker being recruited.
Is under attack.
Against
bottom lane.
It got dominated.
It did.
I think
Oh my goodness, look at those illusions.
Yep.
They attack very quickly.
And they have effectively forced back Tundra to their base. with the exception of good old BZM, who is still farming. Nope, he's going to connect now. All right, this is going to break out.
Soxa, he's going to die first. We haven't seen that before. Crystal's getting a nice static link onto Crit. Soxa's dead to start things out, though, as Crystallis pops the BKB. Will find the kill onto Crit, but it might cost him his own life. But Amar getting beat down by the likes of the Lycan as 33 wants to continue the pressure, gets the nullifier onto Snaking, who's going nowhere as a result, but the stun coming out from Quinn. Basically out of mana, though. Snaking able to TP out just barely as Skeeter gets tossed with the illusion as Soxa bot back to ensure that he could at least get that. So it's a 4 for 3 with the buybacks.
Soxa got 1,000,000 XP from that. He got a solo kill on the enemy Prophet level 25. So he's going to get his 20 talent with that. Probably going to take the toss requires no target. If they can get any cool plays out of that. But yeah, just this fight, the Sunray was massive from Whitemon in that situation. It's keeping Crystallis alive. I'm not sure how much value exactly he got out of his Satanic, but the Sunray definitely extended his life by a couple of seconds there. And they did force Skitter to stay around just long enough that Tiny could come through for the cleanup. That said, Skitter was being very patient with his Manta, probably a bit too much. He actually took a Meld Strike that he maybe could have Manta dodged. And I want to say not necessarily the best fight execution we've ever seen out of Falcons, but it was still good enough to break even overall, I suppose. And they are now, as mentioned, 25 on Prophet, so let us see how this will transpire. Now Roche is available in the top pit. Quinn, he's in
very
there.
deep, gets off the sheep stick, and you can see the Dark Rift being used as well, as Amar will show up. Quinn out of mana already, though. That might just put things to an end here.
Great escape here from Tundra support.
Does have the Arcane on him.
Good job dying on neither of them. Need to be careful on Phoenix with how you use Icarus Dive against Storm, of course. If he can catch you as you begin the dive with Vortex or Hex, it can get really awkward. And the Tiny is able to get him out of trouble and also escape himself. Now, they still force the enemy heroes down there.
Yeah.
So
all-time highest death is 27. Oh, it has to be on Centaur. Seriously?
Vol.
How did he die 27 times on Centaur?
Was Vol a 3-player?
My goodness, that makes me physically ill to read. As there's the sheep initiation. Quinn, there's the Wheel of Wonder as well. Do they have the damage to take out Crystallis? He gets forced at BKB. He's actually staying alive just barely, but no. Eventually does fall. That's a big, big kill. 90 seconds of no Razor. Falcons in a 5v4 situation.
Tried their best to keep him alive with the Sunray to enable the Satanic, but wasn't really anything to hit with the Satanic. And of course, Satanic on Razor doesn't actually heal that much if you don't have a static link running first. You don't attack particularly fast, you don't attack particularly hard, so that will be Roche, number 3 of the game, going the way of Falcons. And this one has got the old Refresh Shard. So who will we see that on? It looks to be the Ringmaster for the time being. He's passing it over to Snaking's Jakiro, who has Ags, by the way, so 2 insanely powerful macro buyers.
Wow.
Could be interesting. Doesn't have the mana for it right now, though. They cost 500 a pop, and the Shard costs 200, so...
Big zip. Instant Hex as well as Whitemon. Gonna be greeted by the gate as Amar actually commits to it. There's the Sunray placed with the egg. I think they have the right clicks to take it out. Indeed they do, as Amar will TP out right in front of their fountain because they don't have a freaking stun to work with. 33 inside of the Sprout has to get away with the Ogre Steel Totem, and just in the blink of an eye, that is a full set of racks in favor of Falcons. And of course the Aegis, plenty of time to work with as these tree ants are beating the shit out of your base.
It's like... It's funny how many games have I seen this now? I still get surprised how much damage they do.
It's unbelievable.
Because it's criminal. It's like, how is this still in the game?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe it. Well, that's 2 lanes.
Yes, it is. Zip on in. Soxa, one more death for the road, potentially. Indeed, that is the case. Macropyre with the Agnes that you talked about. Going to force out the BKB from Crystallis, who just has to walk away. And with another BKB down, Falcons, they can probably just continue here if they want.
Yep. They got the trees, so it just needs something to tank up those towers. Keep getting to work. Now, the 5v4 situation with Aegis and Refresher on your side, obviously that was not expended in the fight, so if Snake wants
zip on in again. Wheel of Wonder is being placed. 33 is going to look away. He's fine. So not able to get the Wombo combo, if you will, as BZM, his BKB is forced out, so the cores for Tundra lacking in the magic immunity. And the tier 2 tower looks to be next so that the Megas can come for the Falcons side. They're going to go through backdoor protection as well.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Shapeshift from 33. This is the last stand potentially of this game number 1 for Tundra. Quinn, Ogre Seal Totem, will be able to zip on down to the low ground as Amar getting cleaned up by 33, but the box will save him. Now 33's BKB is running out. He's inside the Sprout. The Wolf will likely die as a result. Ogre Seal Totem's not enough. Spotlight is placed, doing a whole lot of nothing, as BZM inside that Sprout is going to get hexed again, as the rest of his team will follow suit to their grave. And one more egg to be consumed by Falcons as they will take game number 1.
Damn, that's got to feel very unsatisfying, in particular for BZM. He had an insane early game. They got 4 bounty runes. He crushed his lane. He was 7-0.
Whenever I cast with Cinder, and control is lost in every aspect of life.
I don't think we have anything under control in general.
No.
Not just in casting, but also in what we do with the rest of our time.
And in pickleball specifically.
Yes. Oh,
very bad
control
synergy.
there.
Yeah.
That's good.
As we have game number 2 underway, Tundra versus Falcons. Falcons, of course, took game number 1 in this 2-game series for the group stage. If I'm not mistaken, these are the first 2 games for these teams in this group stage. So wanting to get off to a good start. And obviously Falcons versus Tundra is a headliner in and of itself. And if you're Tundra, you definitely want to split this.
Yeah, you're making some pretty big adjustments after the last game, right? 33 was like, Soxa, you died too much. You're going to be playing the tankiest 4 position in all of Dota, Medusa. So now surely you cannot die 12 times again.
Well,
all right.
Hold my beer.
You want to do a side bet here? All right, Medusa over under 5 deaths.
Ooh,
what do you think?
That's a good one. Well, I think it depends on who you think is going to win this game. I think if they were losing the game, yes, I'd say over 5.
Okay.
I'll just say over 5 anyway.
Over 5, okay. It's funny because, ironically, this has kind of become a talking point for us when we cast Tundra, is Soxa is dying quite a lot. This guy's a world-class player and used to be one of the lowest death position 4s for a very long time.
It feels like his style of play has
design.
changed. Yeah,
it's flat out just a patch thing. The role that he plays for this team, he has definitely transitioned into a different play style entirely, and I still think he's just flat out a world-class player. I mean, the results speak for themselves, right? It's just funny to see because it's so uncharacteristic when you think back on Sox's career to have him be a high-death player when he played years of just pure early and mid-game stability. We'll see this time around. It's going to be an interesting lane, to say the least, playing Medusa Sand King against the Dragon Knight Mirana. This is probably a lane matchup that might have happened less than 5 times in all of Dota's history, if I had to guess. These exact 4 heroes in the same lane looks extremely weird.
Yeah.
But these are new times.
You have not been playing enough pubs, Cinder.
I guess so. Well, I'm not counting pub games in that equation. 33's in big trouble. He's going to get blood grenadiered and deaded.
Snake King takes it. So good start for Falcons. Although last game it was Tundra getting off to the better start, and Falcons able to kind of claw their way back in the game and then taking, I believe it was 2nd and 3rd Roche to get a firm grasp on the game overall.
On the other lanes, we got Quinn on a mid Kunkka against Nature's Prophet. I think that lane should kind of be a draw, I want to say. I'm kind of curious to see this one play out. I don't see any reason why either hero would come out significantly ahead. Nature's Prophet is such a stable laner, and Tidebringer is not going to kill the Treants because they still have too much health. But you, of course, can counterplay the Prophet's high damage between himself and his Treant by just having that cleave to guarantee important CS. So I think that lane's kind of going to be a wash. Bottom lane, Crit, as well as Amar, will be teaming up with the Ringmaster Darkseer lane into Tusk Gyro, one of the, I want to say, staple lanes of the last couple of years. Tusk Gyro has been in and out of meta multiple times.
Feels weird seeing Amar play Darkseer.
That's true.
He's definitely played it before, but not his prototypical, or not signature at least. Soxa, death number 1 for you. Indeed. He's on the board.
All right, sit over 5, Shannon. We're 2 minutes in. This does not bode well for you. Of course, we didn't bet anything.
What do you mean it doesn't bode well for me?
Wait, you
said over 5.
Well, it was a great start for you.
Jesus.
Good prediction.
Okay, just double checking you're not having a stroke here. Oh, as we are still in the laning stage, in case you didn't realize that, Cinderant. So we do see Nature's Prophet again, as you mentioned. We don't need to have that conversation again. Feels like we've had that 100 times. But talk to me about Kunkka, who has kind of re-emerged into the meta. As Snake King will get another kill in the top lane, this time onto 33.
Well,
Ouchie.
Tundra. Look at that net worth on Sand King. Sub 1,000, minute 3. 33 has 4 CS.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Soxa also has 4 CS, so maybe there's just no position 3 in this game. Maybe they're both 3.5.
Yeah, Burrow onto Snake King, gonna harass him out, but he is very, very fine.
Yep.
I mean, the beauty of this is you can always turn Soxa into the position 3. There's a Medusa, for God's sake. Has that ever happened in a pro game? Like, this early in, you're like, okay, let's just switch. I'm not having a game.
Actually, yes. I do think that has happened. I don't think you need to go to those lengths right now, but Sand King with a terrible start is definitely not a great hero. So it's important for Tundra to stabilize this, whether they're going to do it
That
for the
rocket
rotation.
barrage is a lot of damage. Amar, is he just dead? Yes. Nowhere to go.
It's a very difficult lane for Darkseer, this one. He's done a good job so far. I think Amar should not be unhappy with having 20 CS minute 4 into these two. Definitely solid. About Kunkka, I think it's just it's the classic example of other heroes are overpowered for a little bit. Kunkka got some nerfs, and then the other strong heroes get nerfed a little bit step by step. Kunkka's got slight little buffs here and there, and eventually you get to a point where he's kind of back where he was before, because conceptually the hero is still really powerful.
Oh, that was enough. Soxa, nice Mystic Snake. Set it up with the Gorgon's Grasp.
Now, you sounded like you were celebrating that, which does not make sense, because you do not want Soxa to get kills right now. He needs to die more.
Well, like you said, we didn't actually bet anything, so I don't actually give a shit, but just want a good game. And that lane was going horribly for Tundra, and now it's definitely closer to the even state, although you mentioned 33 in his farm suffering quite a bit. But feels like this is a hero that could, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, that could bounce back from a bad laning stage, as long as you get stacks or something to that degree.
Yeah, it's just important. Like, let's say you're 10 minutes in and Sand King has a terrible start. I think Sand King and Darkseer kind of share that characteristic, that they're both able to farm stacks and come back and then have big teamfight impact. But if that gets denied one time, your lane is just in the dumpster, or your game is in the dumpster. So if the enemy team steal your stacks, or if they contest you there and kill you or whatever, you're like very reliant on that. And yeah, speaking of, 33.
Burrow eats the tree instead of hiding behind it. Right clicks will suffice for Snake King.
He is the 5 Mirana. There's no...
Yeah, that's
no
true.
questioning that. 4-0 now. All of Falcons kills.
Even when it's out of meta, he will pick it up. I think there's any Moon Meander. Oh wait, that's the Falcons. Never mind. I was gonna say, is there any Moon Meander infection going on? Because he used to love Mirana quite a bit.
Maybe they talked at breakfast and he was like, I bet you can't play Mirana.
Yeah, that sounds feasible.
Yep.
Players love to talk during breakfast.
BZM, X mark, boat.
Yeah,
No
first
Torn
boat
mana.
of the game. That's going to be a decent amount of damage. Quinn, oh, nice Tidebringer missed there. They get snowballed up, though. Now he is surrounded. Burrow struck up. Nice shards. Inside the Sprout, the haste runs out. And Quinn will get run down eventually as BZM gets credit for that one.
That was an exceptionally well-executed play by Tundra, by the way. That was flat-out perfection. Whitemon's TP, snowball, they barely reach. They get the max range stun on Burrow Strike because they need to outlast the haste rune. So they delay. The haste runs out, and they just have enough to take him down. That was really, really clutch.
I mean, this time around, Tundra, after game 1, having 1 stun, have 4 heroes with stuns.
Yep.
If you want to count the Stone Gaze.
That's right.
And the eventual Basher from Nature's Prophet, of course, which makes 5.
That's right.
Very natural progression for him.
And 6 if you count Gyro's Basher, too.
Yeah, of course. How could we forget? The Crystal is level 6 now on that Gyrocopter. So from Sox's perspective as a position 4, is there any difference of build versus what you would see in the off lane?
I don't really think so. For the time being, he has the Meteor Hammer queued up as well, and it's the double null. I don't see why you wouldn't go the same direction with this. Of course, there's a difference in timings, because if you're playing position 3, you will acquire the items faster with the early farm. But in this specific game, your 3 is a Sand King, so he is going to be farming these stacks as we talked about, and he's doing that right now. Then perhaps 33 will be looking to be a little bit more aggressive on the map while Dusa takes a little bit of space. Or they flat out just divide up the farming space that they have. You can see now Soxa building more stacks, so there will be 2 triple stacks on the southwest side of the map here. Well, I fell both of them, so I take it back. There will be 2 double stacks, but
Wow.
he did try his best.
Beast.
And these will also be farmed by 33, so in the meantime, Soxa can take more laning space. So this is like some nice synergy going on between the two here. Soxa will just walk up and tank everything, but he'll be fine because he's Medusa.
Getting a bit low.
It's alright, he's got a mana draft and 2 nulls.
And Quinn's going to show up as well, but won't find the opening on the Soxa. Instead, they will just ensure that this tier 1... without that wave there, I don't think they can finish it. But there's a wave coming in. And we'll see if Tundra actually want to truly defend this with more than just Soxa. 33 in the area as well. Has the epicenter at the ready.
Blink coming? No, it's his mask. Okay. I was, for a second, I was like, that's a really fast blink. I could not believe that with the start he had. But yeah, we'll Voodoo Mask first. See which way he goes after. More stacks from Soxa. Death, taxes, and stacks.
And the thing about this
stacks,
is, do you think that Falcons, they should have an idea that this is the strat that Tundra would be going for because of 33's horrible start. But even without the horrible start, it's a hero that you want to take stacks at some point.
Yeah.
And you have a Kunkka, right? You have a good amount of team fight, you have a good amount of the cleave to be able to steal them. But not going to be the case here.
I definitely think there was maybe a better opportunity to block the camps a little bit more. You can see that there's Radiant Sentry wards that opened, but you can take this fight, right? You can play the warding game and just keep counter-warding the sentries and keep blocking, but
Soxa.
I'm not really able to do that.
No way. All right, Dragon Tail. The whip.
He got the Stone Gaze
Gets
off.
off the Stone Gaze.
He's fine. He's 26.
Long-range arrow, though. Boom! Into what, though? Leap, Starstorm. Oh, he's fed a mango, it looks like. And Soxa will survive. So not another death for him, Cinder, and I'm sure you're thrilled.
Yeah. Important. We're both very invested in this. I actually forgot we had the bet after you said you didn't care about it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm happy you brought it back up. If I can be right about something, that would be the first time today, and I would be celebrating that. Moonlight Shadow. They're looking for an angle. BZM not going to get caught, though. Still, the pressure will commence. They're looking to lay into this mid tower. Tundra... I feel like this is a hard defense to make without Stone Gaze, but they might just try to do it anyway. TPN from 33.
Yep,
I think Quinn maybe got a glimpse of him there.
Soxa, of course, doesn't have his ult to work with. Ice Shard's not going to fully connect here.
And there's the
Now
Moonlight
Shadow. Quinn trying to re-aggress, but we'll think better of it and exit completely, although they are heading to the southern side where Crystallis is chilling. This would be a pretty big kill if they can find the connection, but he'll just go through the gate knowing that this is a possibility. As the Crystallis for Crystallis.
It's good defensive play from Tundra here to try to stall out these pushes, but ultimately they almost lost the mid tower, and now the bottom tower is probably... I don't think they're even going to show up for this. They'll try to get their own trade up top as much as possible. So it is still Falcons opening up the map faster and more. This top trade is very important now for Tundra to get. Immediate glyph from Falcons. Will they mount any sort of defense? Does not look like it. Should just be a flat-out tower-for-tower trade. Dragon Knight in the bottom lane can do it alone, whereas Tundra are bringing a couple extra heroes here. Now the mid tower ultimately does get... Was that a deny?
Onto the tower?
Yeah. No, wait, where is the tower?
Is that the bottom? Skeeter killed it? Unless you mean the other side.
I mean the mid tower. It was up a moment ago. Who destroyed the mid tower?
Quinn.
Oh, there it is.
Then
wow,
BZM.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, keep up, Cinderin.
Yeah, it's tough. I can't read.
Well, we are in America.
Yeah?
Pretty normal.
Go on.
Pretty normal with the education system now being non-existent and all. But that's another story for another time.
Of course, unlike in North Carolina where it's exceptional.
Of course, yes. Here in Raleigh. Beautiful North Carolina.
Yeah. Been meeting many an educated well-spoken.
It is a nice town, I have to say. 33 picks up the Blink Dagger. So went for the life or the spell lifesteal first as a little pick-me-up.
Yep.
And now we'll have the initiation possibilities.
Pretty standard stuff.
And does that align with anything from the other cores from Tundra? I mean, Chrysalis, we talked about the Chrysalis itself, but feels like he's going to want a little bit more than that. Probably the Ags next, I would assume.
Currently BKB on the menu. You could make a case for both. I think the BKB is a little bit better, specifically because when Sand King buys Dagger in this game state, you want to get your other heroes in fighting shape as fast as possible. This is a big kill.
They find him.
He has a dominating streak.
But they want to continue to fight, apparently. Skeeter gets the Dragon Tail off. They actually pull him in. So inside the snowball, Chrysalis is going to live. Big boat coming in, not going to hit anything, so not so big after all. Whitemon's going to get ticked out as 33 coming with the epicenter. Doesn't get the connection he was looking for. It's only on the Skeeter, who's really tanky right now. Chrysalis doing a lot of damage. Onto Crit and the rest of Skeeter and the rest of Falcons, in fact, as 3 die here. And Amar and Quinn will be able to walk away. So a little bit of a disconnected fight overall from both sides. Not, I mean, able to dodge quite a few spells. As Arrow this time will connect thanks to the X marks the spot.
Tanky. This
Do
could
they
be
have
bad.
the damage? Sox is going to get some cover. Nice Burrow Strike coming in from 33. They delete Quinn. Now with the Moonlight Shadow, Amar and company will exit the premises.
I did not like that Medusa attempt. I feel like that kill is just not happening. You know the backup is still there. You just took the fight. You don't have very much damage between the 3 heroes you just brought to the fight there. Because keep in mind, Quinn went Blade Mail first. So he doesn't... This is a standard build on mid Kunkka, but in situations like that, it doesn't really give you anything. More so than anything, though, I'm surprised by Tundra's ability to kill them through Ghost Ship and Pipe. They actually had the damage. 33 stayed alive for an extreme... I mean, he didn't die at all. He just stayed alive through the entirety of the fight, got off a very long-duration sandstorm toward the end that did a ton of damage. And they kind of just kited them around.
Another X. This time onto the Nature's Prophet, as BZM will casually TP out, but the vacuum cancels it. And away BZM goes.
Amar
So nice
his
kill
old
for
teammate
Amar.
and runs into Roche. Oh, that's a shortcut.
Did you throw him?
Here? Question mark.
What?
He wrote that.
I know. Why?
Asking if BZM is still here, or if he went AFK after dying. I don't know.
There's a Meteor Hammer now online for Soxa. That little extra push potential for the position for Medusa.
Okay, I don't think Sox is going to buy the item that he just queued up, but we'll see. Queued up a Mjolnir.
That would be sick.
I
What a
was
support item.
expecting Gleipnir.
Yeah,
Maybe he wrote near and then clicked the wrong one in the search box.
could be. As Falcons will be taking the Tormy as we see the Roche replay. Very important. There we go. And the
Crit.
shard goes to Crit.
A little bit of a spotlight.
Yeah, Spotlight. I don't know, what do you think of this shard?
It's good against tanking.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you just throw it in the middle of the sandstorm and you basically see him
Yeah.
the entirety of the area, right? The lights travel a decent amount, so you should be able to catch him almost consistently. The 30% miss chance is not bad either against a hero like Gyro, because he's pretty static in the fight. You know where he's going to stand and deliver. You just throw it on top of him. It's not bad. Arrow? Whitemon. It does get
hit.
caught.
As Quinn making his way over from the other side, not even needed. As the
Nice
two supports
arrow.
take out Whitemon easily.
Yeah, that's kind of an awkward line to run, right? He might have even seen the arrow coming, but where do you go in that little...
Oh, this is a max Exodus here. Into the top lane. Soxa is who they want.
Soxa.
As meanwhile, Amar is found in the bot lane, so Tundra get a very easy kill. Falcons, they will be able to cancel this TP. It's going to take them a while, I would think.
This is a really hard kill. 1v4.
Soxa pretty much out of mana now, gets off the Stone Gaze, but he gets X'd back. Good timing there for Falcons.
I love
Eventually
that.
they do take out the pesky Medusa.
He walked up the stairs and started channeling Meteor Hammer for like 0.1 seconds. Just kills. I like to play though. Still, it's... Yeah, they kill Soxa, but it cost them the Darkseer and 30 seconds. This kill is so slow. So you do get there.
By the way, he is committing to Mjolnir.
Oh, the Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is very interesting.
It has been, correct me if I'm wrong, it has been like Hammer Gleipnir that we've seen as the more popular way to go, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Ultra Roots makes the AoE bigger on Gorgon's Grasp.
yeah. Interesting, interesting. I guess, I mean, there is the added benefit on a hero like Dusa to having Mjolnir of just how much value you get out of the... What's the active called? Static, what is it? It's been forever since I've said this out loud, I think. Static charge? Static charge? Static charge, yeah. Because you're so tanky, you get a ton of reflections. So that's kind of interesting. And you also make sure you scale further into the game if that's how you've constructed your
Yeah, if you have no faith in one of your cores, you can always take over.
Yeah, Soxa checked Reddit and they said Crystallis can't carry. So Sox was like, all right, I'll get Mjolnir and I'll carry.
Yep, easy peasy.
Yep. Reddit, of course, very educated gentleman.
Very greedy build, I have to say. Not a whole lot of utility.
X next here, interesting. For
wow.
Mr. 33.
So that's the Ags that where Epicenter does more damage. It applies your... Oh, that was a Divine Rapier on the, the graphic. At first, I was like, wait, what? But this applies the Stinger to your Epicenter. So
this is a super early Ags.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one this early.
19
Second item.
minutes. Super early as well. I mean, it's not super early, but it's a pretty early Roche. 19 minutes. Skeeter will immediately expend his Aegis.
Oh, boy.
Use. Nope, never mind.
Gets
Boxed
boxed.
up.
Yep.
Just like
Meteor
the
Hammer's
food you had
coming
last
for him.
night,
It
boxed up to
clips
go.
him. Great one, Cinder and Vac Wall. But not a whole lot of follow-up. Crystallis does pop the BKB, and Skeeter somehow lives. He's no longer in Dragon form, though. Soxa going to get X and Arrow, but pops the Stone Gaze to avoid any further initiation. He's going to get knifed in the back as Skeeter comes in with the Dragon Tail. He's just going to get punched in the air. Kind of wants to use his Aegis, it feels like, but he could just hold on to that if he really wants. Crystallis from the high ground doing a decent amount of damage to the Illusion. As Whitemon and company looking to reaggress. There's one dead already. That's the Ring Master. 33 showing off that Aghanim Scepter. Not enough to kill off Snake King, but he does find him in the tree line. So double kill for 33. And Torrent actually does find one. As a connection from Whitemon onto his teammate will lead to another kill, and this one onto Quinn. So the more important of the three.
Honestly, the drinking buddies of Whitemon in this game is combo breaking.
Yeah, it's
super hard on these X-Mark plays. He just keeps pulling them away. And they can't get their combos right.
I wonder why people stopped picking this facet for a while. I still don't understand.
It's definitely still good in the right situation. I mean, it's been extremely good in this game. But I also think it's the type of game where it's very obvious to pick it for him because of the DK plus Kunkka combination, like these single target stuns that need to be chained and need to be lined up. Get plenty of time to pull people out into safety. But yeah, this is why he took it. And you're seeing the impact. Every single fight, these drinking buddies have been instrumental in Tundra pulling away with now a pretty significant lead, 6,000. Should be noted they had a similar lead in game number 1, but it was a very different game in nature. This one, first of all, they have the Prophet, so as we go down the stretch, they will have...
And you have a position 4 that could be your carry if you wanted him to be.
He could indeed get there. Smoke up from Falcons. Only, they're going to actually immediately break on the Mirana, so this kind of... This might make the gank fail. I actually don't really know what they were trying to do with the smoke to begin with, to be honest, with just the Mirana and the Darkseer and then not connecting anyway with the other players, but... Into the mid we go. They really want to put their Aegis to good use here.
What do you think about it being on Skeeter?
Yeah, well, the alternative was Kunkka. Kunkka is just not a great Aegis carrier, I think.
They just don't have a good Aegis.
Yeah, kind of don't. I don't know how much I love the double Blade Mail either. They went Blade Mail on Dragon Knight and Kunkka, and I get it. It's nice for a bit against Gyro, but ultimately, it's just going to overpower it. The Prophet's overpowering it. They both have their BKBs already, so...
It does feel like you're lacking...
Get it.
You're lacking damage on Falcons for sure. Especially when Amar is playing a hero like Darkseer. Doesn't have... I mean, it's just going for the aura-related
Radiance
items.
on Quinn? Yeah. It's got Radiance now.
Okay.
That'll help a bit. But it is, of course, slow damage over time, whereas the side of Tundra have immense burst.
I wish we could see the old Kunkka days back with the one-shot crits. Those were exciting. Hard to balance, though.
I don't even know how crazy good that would be in modern Dota.
That's fair. His BZM, he's going to get opened up on. They're putting everything on top of him.
Kill.
Well worth. Definitely didn't need a lot of it, but they'll claim the kill nonetheless. 45 seconds on the deck. Still the Aegis for another minute. That's a big power spike, though, for Tundra as the Aghanim Scepter now on Crystallis, so Side Gunner active.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a setback losing your profit there, but in the grand scheme of things, you're not losing any buildings, you're not losing any objective. So as soon as he respawns, if you wanted to, you could make a move of your own. You know the Aegis on DK is bound to expire in 30 seconds. So
did you know that
could be a good timing.
Gyro Ags, you get the actual model of the Side Gunner? Like it rotates around him? Have you ever seen that?
Wait, what?
See that yellow thing? That's his Side Gunner.
Is that
Yeah.
is that this cosmetic or does every cosmetic have a Side Gunner?
Yeah, they all have them. I don't know if they're the same though for all of them. I'm not sure.
Has it been there the entire time since the act was introduced?
This is
I was like, there's no way.
Relatively new as far as I know. It's
I couldn't believe I've never seen it or noticed it.
Yeah, nice little touch there.
Yeah. What's the name of the Side Gunner?
Sam.
He's a Johnny to me.
Quinn. Oh, nice Burrow Strike onto 2. Call down coming as well. Down goes Quinn. Snaking. Able to leap away. Does find the distance. They don't have the vision for that Wrath of Nature, so he'll just TP out to safety.
Was that on cooldown prior to that? Because otherwise, they had plenty of opportunities to kill him, right?
Potentially.
Anyway, they get the bigger one. They get the Kunkka. And they keep Quinn down. His game is really not great. I mean, none of the cores on Falcons having a good game, really.
Soxa is found. Do they have the damage? Wheel of Wonder placed. Wall as well. Soxa does get off his ult into the TP. It's going to be close. He's out. Position for Medusa does it again. So freaking tanky. I mean, to be fair, when there's a Medusa in the game, typically, I mean, maybe you don't have to do it every game, but a defusal carry would be nice. They don't have one, though.
Yeah.
They really don't have anyone that wants to buy that item.
But I think the reason Falcons chose not to pick Anti-Mage, for example, in this game was that they saw that this was a trap. Like, there's no way they would pick Medusa like this and give it a high priority.
Yeah.
So if you were to pick AM, they would downgrade the Dusa to whatever. They could have also made Dusa 5 and then played a 4 Tusk and moved their lanes in a different fashion to make AM's game harder. So I kind of get where Falcons were coming from.
I wouldn't have minded Pango for Quinn. I mean, that's his hero, right? That's
yeah, they already had Kunkka at the time, though, right? So they had one final pick remaining. So if you were to pick Pango, you would have to play support Darkseer, which you could have done, I think, and then offlane Kunkka. I could see it.
The fact that basically anything, the fact that Terrorblade can be played as a support. It is quite the day and age for Dota. Truly. I love that fact, by the way. That is super cool.
Absolutely changed. Here's the Mjolnir for Soxa.
Wow. Position for Medusa with Mjolnir now. Don't try this at home.
I think you should try it at home. I think it's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean? If somebody picks position for Medusa in a regular pub game, you've already lost, generally.
I really don't think so.
So people are really low skill. People like me play the game. Just remember that.
Yeah.
As the Ringmaster is found,
I think even you could maybe pull this off a bit.
Okay.
You need to think of it this way. Medusa is very forgiving if you mess up your positioning because of how tanky.
No, I understand. It's just, it's more about it being greedy as a support. Like, as a 3, I can totally get that. Quinn and company looking for more here.
Radiant are
The scan comes out, not able to hit. Although
choosing a 4v5 opening on Deuce.
Arrow's going to hit. Stone Gaze is available once he's unstunned, but there's a Burrow Strike onto 4 heroes. The call down to follow, and guess who's still alive? Soxa. Crimson Guard is not going to keep you alive this time. Quinn will be the 3rd casualty. Another Burrow Strike for the road. 4 dead for Falcons. And again, they opened up onto Soxa. It's just muscle memory after game 1. Playing against Soxa's Tiny, you initiate on him constantly. It's a little bit different when it's a Medusa.
Yeah, we gave them credit in game 1 for identifying that you got to go on Soxa. He's the only stun. Maybe they just want to go on Soxa in general every game.
Yeah, they hate his guts.
Maybe they didn't think about it in game 1.
They hate the fact that he's so polite and mild-mannered, unlike every other pro in the scene.
Yeah, he doesn't really fit in, does he?
He's a good guy, unlike the other pieces of garbage.
Let's keep in mind, Falcons chose that fight 4v5. Crit was dead when they smoked.
Yeah.
So they were really trying to get a surprise jump. They found the worst possible target that they could.
What is that? Is that the one death that we saw? Is this? Oh, the two deaths.
It's a compilation of every time Soxa has taken hero damage, I think.
There you go. Looks like you're going to be right this game, by the way.
Oh, it's got some leeway at least.
Soxa can always go into the
two
fountain
deaths.
and feed a bit. We'll see.
Well,
16K lead for Tundra.
and it's getting increasingly difficult to find an avenue for Falcons because let's imagine the perfect setup here. Okay, the perfect realistic setup. So you're gonna initiate the fight with DK or Dragon Knight by getting a stun off, and then you're gonna follow through with an arrow. You're opening on someone. Who is a good target? Gyro, you have to 100 to 0 him or he's gonna get saved by Tusk. Similar story with Prophet. Prophet is probably not gonna be with them, so maybe you find Prophet and you kill him, but there's no collateral. Dusa is absolutely off the table.
Yeah.
You cannot open on Soxa a third or a fourth time and expect a different outcome now.
Having two supports, one has a save, one
Quinn.
is invincible. Quinn will take the brunt of the damage. Nice ice shards blocking him in, isolating from everyone else. Yeah. And that is the death of Quinn again. Falcons, they still want to fight though. Is Skeeter going in? Nice arrow.
Oh,
Gets
wait, what
pushed to the
happened?
high ground. That is the death of Gyro now. So it's a 1-for-1, but the Burrow Strike into the epicenter. 33, doing tons of damage. The box is going to keep Crit alive a little bit longer. Pops the Essence Ring as well as Skeeter is going to get snowballed onto the north side of this fight. Spotlight, doing a little bit there for Crit, but for the Falcon side, they still lose their third, make it 4. So despite that, that was a weird interaction. It was like a Force Staff plus the drinking buddies. Somehow ends up on the high ground.
I think BZM killed Crystallis, actually. I'm looking through all the inventory.
BZM killed Crystallis?
Yeah, because I think he force staffed him as he was getting drinking buddied, so he didn't get pulled back.
I see.
So he forced him in the wrong direction because the enemy team does not have any force staffs, right? They only have the pike.
And vacuum.
Oh wait, they do have a force staff on Murano. If that was an offensive force staff from snaking, it would have been giga clutch in that situation, actually. Either way, the force staff did counteract the drinking buddies. They get the 1 kill, but it cost them dearly. I thought Falcons were gonna just flat out disengage there. They already lost their Kunkka. They used all their auras for nothing. But then they fancied their chances with Gyro in that position, and they do get him. Don't think that was worth it for an additional 3 casualties, though.
Nope. Yeah, the fact that they wanted to re-aggress after losing Quinn. I mean, Quinn has not been able to have any impact on this game. Then again, like I feel like Kunkka kind of falls into this trap a lot of the time. These are the games from I've seen where you don't get off to a great start and your game just feels kind of meh.
I'm not a big believer in this hero as a mid in general. I think it used to be very good there, but for me, he's much more of an offlaner right now with the way the game is played. And then you can... Because the other problem you have when you're playing Kunkka mid is, if you're not having a great game, how do you itemize, right? It feels like this hero, in order to be a strong core that puts pressure in the fights and is a threat, you need to be rich. So as soon as anything goes remotely wrong as a mid Kunkka, I think the recovery curve is incredibly steep, whereas if you play off lane, maybe you can go auras, or you go Ags, you know, and then you play like utility. And it's a lot more forgiving if you die once or twice, because you can still have the other cores do damage for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too big of a believer in this. I don't think we're going to see much mid Kunkka this tournament, but I do think we're going to see the hero more. Just not much in that role. Soxa will break the smoke, and Falcons are like, run, it's Medusa.
I think they may have learned their lesson. Burrow Strike into the Gorgon's grasp. And Amar pretty tanky right now. I mean, really the issue for Falcons that I'm finding is they just don't have any damage. Even the itemization. It's like Radiance, and that's literally it. Amar, he's going to get Walrus Punch in the air. Box is going to save him, but the huge epicenter again from 33. That Aghanim Scepter is doing so much for him. 2 dead already for Falcons. Quinn looks to be next, completely isolated. Crit will follow suit, so just like that, it's 4 dead. As Tundra just rolling over in this game number 2.
I mean, that play was completely telegraphed, too. They use Moonlight Shadow, and Amar just keeps running down the river within enemy vision. And I think they saw him as he was fading. So it looked like it was on purpose that they were trying to bait him. But once again, they don't have any damage when he gets jumped, so they can't even punish when Medusa just blinks and stuns together with.
And they forced out the buyback from Amar, who does have vac wall, will place it, but now he's kind of stuck in place and will die back as a result. So trying to save his precious carry in Skeeter.
Well, he did.
He did, but it will cost him another death, and now a set of barracks, and probably a second
Game.
in this mid lane. This is likely game, yes indeed.
I thought you said a second, because it will cost them a second game. Well, it will cost them a first game. They did win the first one, so
The second game.
it would be a draw when all is said and done, unless Falcons can do something absolutely ridiculous here. They're going to try.
They will breathe fire onto Crystallis. He's just going to do a shit ton of damage from the tier 4 towers of the enemy as Skeeter punched into the air, dead. Okay, the boat does finish off Crystallis, but at the same time, you got several other cores here for Tundra, including the position for Medusa, who will just continue to rain arrows upon the 4 dead for Falcons as GG's come out. So we will see a split, in fact, which I think we didn't really talk about this pre-series, but this is the expected outcome, I would say. I mean, obviously there's a bit of a wild card with Quinn being the stand-in and whatnot.